So as you can see today, we are not in the same place, we are up, about, we are moving. And honestly, the reason for this is because, as I've mentioned before, I think it's really important to shake things up sometimes. And even though this is the last day of these videos, quite frankly, I don't care, because an ending is only ever a new beginning. So yeah, look, this video is a completely different style to the other ones I've filmed. And I wanted to do this because I was thinking today about this whole concept of how do we find our voice? How do we learn to communicate in a way that feels authentic to us, to who we are, to what we want to share? And I was trying to think back to my journey, because when I started creating content, I definitely didn't know how to sound like me, because I didn't really know what me was meant to sound like. I think that's probably years of doing like exams in school, writing a certain way, getting into a more corporate style job, wanting to sound professional. This stuff sticks, right? And I think we need to actively cultivate different ways of shedding that conditioning and finding out how do we want to sound. Because when it comes to kind of sharing content online, I think one of the most important things and magnetizing things is when you sound like you, not just some regurgitated version of you or some version that some copywriting course has told you to sound like. There's no kind of magic trick here. The way to find out your voice, the way to discover how you express naturally, is to use it, is to practice, is to try sharing in different ways and see how it works for you. It's about shedding that embarrassment, I think, that we have instinctively at, oh, what happens if I don't sound professional enough? What happens if I don't sound the way I want to sound? Like, what then? We have to shed that. We have to learn to be ultimately who we are. And do you want to know one of the best teachers I've had in this? Is this girl right here, little Luna. You see, animals, they don't worry about how they come across. They are who they are. And sure, probably dogs, and I'm not a dog person, maybe they do learn how to get love from their owners. But generally speaking, that's just them. They don't put on airs and graces. And when I watch my cats, Luna and Button, they don't act in any way that they're supposed to. They act based on what they instinctually want to do and how they want to be in the moment. And we need to do more of that. You need to give yourself more opportunity to express yourself, to experiment with your voice, to write up things, to set yourself a challenge. For example, if you write something, try writing in a completely different style. Try infusing humor, try stripping all the humor out if that's something that you use as a vice because you're scared about seeming like you're too full of yourself or something like that. You've got to give yourself opportunity to play, you've got to give yourself opportunities to experiment, and that is the only way to find your voice. There's not some prescriptive formula here. It requires experimentation. It requires going on the adventure. And so just like this whole series of videos that I've done in the moment has been a real adventure for me in discovering what my voice is, I want to invite you to embark on your own. And you could do it where, you know what, maybe you do something similar, but you don't have to publish them. Maybe you could just film a series of videos in the moment, speaking normally, naturally, or at least attempting to, because it is weird, this whole vibe of just talking to yourself with a camera. My best advice here is to film long enough that your inhibitions start to drop. Or if you prefer writing, if you've always written in a certain way, one thing you can do is find some text or copy from somebody who writes in a completely different style to you. Get a pen and paper and literally write, like copy it word for word, and just see how writing in a completely different style feels. Does it feel good? Do you learn anything from that process? Of course, there's also the old favorite as well, which is dictating straight into your phone through the Notes app, or you can do it in Word or Google Docs as well. It's always a great way to capture how you actually speak. But with all of it, I want you to just imagine that you're speaking to a friend. You're speaking to somebody who is going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And so if you stumble, like, can you imagine being in a conversation with your friend and you stumble over a word? Unless they're a particular type of friend, they're not going to just be there correcting you or judging you because of it. They're interested in you. They've got your back. They're not idiots. They know what you're trying to say. We need to apply this to our audience and to the people that we are making content for as well, and worry less about being perfect and worry more about whether the essence of what we are trying to share is being received. Because honestly, words are only ever signposts to meaning, but the way that we can elevate words from being just a boring sentence on a page is by really infusing our own energy into it, whether it's written, whether it's spoken, whatever. And I'm not even being woo here. Like, let's take this mug, for example, right? I could be trying to sell you this mug and I could be saying, it's really pretty, it's red, it's got a gold bee on it, you should buy it now. Or I could be saying, let me just adjust how I'm holding it. Or I could be saying, oh my God, this mug, like, as you can see, it's red. It is absolutely beautiful. It is so pretty. And it's got this gorgeous gold bee on it. Oh, you should totally buy it now. Can you see how, although I've pretty much said word for word the same thing, the energy and the inflection and the tone that I infuse it with has completely changed the way that you hopefully heard me speak about this mug. So finding your voice isn't just about finding some perfect set of words that can convey the specific thing of what you say. It is just as much about infusing your personality, your energy, and your presence into it. And honestly, I think you can only ever speak with conviction and passion and things like that about what you actually believe in. So if you are struggling to communicate about certain things, about yourself, and, you know, everything sounds a little bit flat to you, then really what I'd be encouraging you to do is look at your self-belief. Look at whether you believe in what you're actually saying, because that's going to be way more influential on how your message is received than the specific words themselves. So yeah, bit of a different vibe today, as I told you at the beginning of this video, but you know what? It's fine, because although it's the end of this particular creative experiment in that I've created a video in the moment Monday to Friday for 4 weeks in January. So that's 20 videos total. I just know that this is absolutely not the end. As per usual, absolutely no idea how to finish this video. Maybe that's something I should come up with for future videos. You know, part of me always wants to say like, namaste, but that's not me. So whatever. I mean, if you've watched at this point, you're probably used to these videos being pretty random and not always tied up neatly with a bow. So do you know what? Why break a tradition that we've been doing now for 20 videos?